Who doesn't want to outdo their older sibling? JD Vance's younger half-brother might not have any political experience, but after seeing JD rise from his humble beginnings to be vice president of the United States, can you blame his younger brother for throwing his hat in the ring too? The half-brother in question, Cory Bowman, did not grow up with JD Vance. In fact, they didn't even meet until Vance was 13 and Bowman was 9, when Vance wanted to meet his father's other children. Bowman says he never thought politics was his calling until he saw Vance inaugurated as Donald Trump's vice president. And on that very day, January 20th, Bowman says he was inspired to run for mayor of Cincinnati. Now, this is not a seat on the local school board. The Cincinnati metro area is home to 2.3 million people. And Bowman isn't just new to politics, he's relatively new to town. Bowman and his wife Jordan moved there in 2020. Bowman grew up on a farm in Hamilton, Ohio, 34 miles north of Cincinnati, so he's been in the area. For the past 5 years, he's been active in the community as a pastor and a small business owner. And besides, JD Vance's first political campaign was for the U.S. Senate. Donald Trump's was for presidency. And who says newcomers can't win? Cory Bowman joins us live now. Cory, great to have you here. So you were inspired to run for mayor after watching your half-brother, JD Vance, be inaugurated as vice president. Tell me what happened, what you thought, what you felt when you saw him swear and take that oath.
Yeah, well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for having me on. So you mentioned before that we have had a church in the downtown area for just over 4 years now. The main focus of everything that we've done in the downtown area is just to impact lives. 2 years later, after we started the church, we started our own coffee shop and business in the area. And so whenever I saw that, like you said, my brother was inaugurated, it was very inspiring because what it was for me was just a way to be able to impact people's lives. And at first I thought, there's nothing farther from this that I want to be. And then whenever I looked into it, started researching the current race that was about to take place, I realized I had to put my hat in the ring. You know,
I'm sure, from both watching and reading and from talking to your brother, who's the vice president, that politics can be a dirty business. Are you really ready for this?
Yeah. Well, I like to think of it as, just as much of the anger and the frustration and the ugliness that you see, there's just as much good in it as well. And over the last 3 months, we've met some incredible people that have jumped on board to help and support. And these are residents in the city that are ready for change.
All right. So you got a tough skin, you got a thick skin, and you're ready for this. Got to ask you, have you called your brother, the vice president, and asked for any advice?
Well, I tell people that I don't speak for JD. He speaks pretty well for himself nowadays.
He sure does.
He's a great role model for me. He's an older brother, first and foremost. And for right now, we have a good luck, congratulations. And I'm completely happy with that. He's asked how it's gone. But for me, I have to emphasize that this is a race for the city of Cincinnati. There's local issues that the people care deeply about, and that's why we're running.
What are the issues that are most important to you? What's your platform, if you can? Give me your elevator pitch.
Yeah, well, whenever we talk to people on the streets, when you talk to people that live in these cities, 52 neighborhoods of the city, the majority of people care about 3 major issues, and that's money management, it's crime, and infrastructure. There's ways that we can prioritize the budget properly to be able to impact people's lives day to day rather than push our own agendas. The crime rates, whether you want to manipulate statistics or not, the crime has not gotten better in our city, and you can ask anybody on the streets and they'll tell you that. So we have to implement policies that are supporting our local police officers and putting common sense laws into place that do not tie the hands of our officers. And then when we talk about infrastructure, we have potholes everywhere in our roads. This winter was the worst winter that we've ever had when it came to snowplow removal. My business, people couldn't show up for a week just because of the snowplow in downtown. And so these are things that people care about, and this is what we're going to run on.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes the local issues are mirrors of the national issues. Money, the economy, and crime, always at the top for voters who are voting for president and vice president as well. Listen, you've got a very famous brother who's vice president of the United States. You're on this show because, you're his brother, let's be honest. So there's some good things about having a famous member of the family. There's also some bad things. If the tide should turn, Are you ready for that in case people, for example, the economy gets worse? We know that polls show nationally people are really, really concerned about the economy, and a lot of people disapprove of the way President Trump and your brother as vice president are handling it.
Yeah, well, we're in a time right now to where you're still in the first 100 days of this administration.
True.
I think when you talk to people, you realize that this isn't. When you talk to people in downtown Cincinnati, when you talk to people that's in the metropolitan area, yes, there's things within the last 100 days that they've experienced that might be hardships, but they're reminded of the years past where jobs have been outsourced from local factories to these countries that have been taking advantage of America. And so I think that people realize that this is a shock factor that needs to happen in order for our country to get right back on track. And I think with our city governments, these are things that have to happen as well. And as people go along for the ride, I think that they're going to realize that this is putting the country in a better position.
All right, Cory Bowman running to be the Republican nominee for mayor?
Well, it's a nonpartisan race, so there's no R or Ds next to us when it comes to the ballots. But, there are more conservative values that we're standing for. But overall, we're standing for local issues in the city.
Oh, you got your work cut out for you. You're looking to dethrone a Democratic mayor of Cincinnati who's been a bit of a Democratic star in the party. But as you said, Ohio's ruby red. So we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much, Cory.
Thank you so much for having me, Elizabeth.
By the way, you sound just like your brother. I'm sure I'm not the first person to tell you that.
Well, thank you. I asked people, can you imagine what he would do if he had the good looks that I have? So.
Oh, okay. A little brotherly competition here.
That's a joke, by the way.
Thank you, Cory.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.